Hey everyone, welcome to Real Estate Cookies. Today we're going to be talking about how to find deals. It's always a topic of conversation for new investors and even seasoned investors. They always want to know how to find the good deals. And there's a lot of misconceptions around it, so put on your seatbelts. We're going to dive into that today on Real Estate Cookies. All right. Well, if you're a new investor getting started, you're asking yourself, how do I find deals? And all the deals must be picked over by the seasoned investors. The first thing to understand is that all the deals are not picked over. There's lots of deals to go around, and you don't have to feel like you don't have any chance of getting new deals, because it's simply not true. But there are a few fundamental things that you have to understand if you're going to find deals out there in the area. So the number one thing is you got to know what you're looking for. So what are you going to go after? We talked in a previous episode about the different neighborhoods, A, B, C, or D. So if you know, like I suggested, if you're in a C to B minus neighborhood, like that's usually where people get started, especially with single family homes, then you want to be able to know that area really well. You'll know that area by driving it, putting search parameters on Zillow. That's a great website for that. The local multiple listing service, or MLS, will have it. You can put search parameters on a zip code, like really get to know that area, okay? And within that area, you're gonna find maybe there's a abandoned warehouse in that area. Maybe there's a business that's for sale, or a small strip mall that you aren't necessarily looking for that, but you like the area because you've identified that it's not the high-end area that you can't afford. It's not a place that's unsafe, like in a D neighborhood, but it's right in the middle of a C going to a B neighborhood, which we talked about in the previous episode. So you want to define that area really well and then know the area. Okay, so that's first off. Second thing is you're going to set up parameters for an online attack. There's not one strategy that's going to work here. It's a multiple strategy approach that's going to begin to trickle deals in for you. Okay, so number one thing is you want to have on your own phone, under your own alerts, where you go into Zillow, you'll go into the multiple listing service, log in, create an account, set your parameters for alerts so that every time a new property is listed in that area, you're alerted to it by an email. I have a neighborhood that I live in here in town, and every time a property is listed, I get a ping the day it's listed, and I can look at it immediately and see if I'm interested. All right. We have another area up north that we're looking for a totally different type of property. I have those parameters set on a totally different website. Every time one of those get listed, it pings me. If a price gets decreased, it sends me an email, an alert. So you're gonna have private alerts, private emails that come to you that you can search, that when you get them, you're gonna send them out. And that's basically on types of property. So let's say you're looking at a C neighborhood for duplexes. Then you're gonna look under that parameter, that zip code, duplex. So every time a new duplex is listed or a price is changed, you get notified. If you're looking for hunting land or raw land or whatever that might be, every time a new piece of land is put in, you're going to get notified. So the type of property and the zip code have to be put in so you get alerts personally. So you're looking out for yourself. Second is having other people look out for you. This is where you're going to partner with a real estate agent. So up north from where we are now, I'm looking for hunting property. So I've contacted a realtor up in that area that had a property listed of what I liked. So I went up and looked first at the area, found a property that was listed that I liked, and I called the realtor that was listing the type of property that I wanted, because that just seems common sense to me. Built a relationship with him by asking questions, telling him what I'm looking for. And then he was very eager to set me up on any kind of notification that would send things to me. But also he knows to call me or talk to us if there is something that comes up or a price that's changed. And so you want to build a realtor. The other reason is that if you need to make an offer, you got to have a contact in that area. So even if I'm getting my own notifications of properties that I like, I now have a contact to call to write an offer on a piece of property. And so you want both approaches. So that's the first two things. You want to have your own system that sends you deals. You want to have other people who send you deals. Okay. Third thing is you want to find things that are not listed. Now there's a false sense out there that, well, if it's on the multiple listing service, it's not a deal. It's not true. And the reason it's not true is because you don't know the story behind the listing. So little things that will stand out to you. For example, if you see a property listed in your state, like we live on the Wisconsin line here, but Illinois is only a couple miles away. If I see a Wisconsin property listed by an Illinois realtor, I automatically know that it could potentially be a deal, because that Illinois realtor probably doesn't know the market as well as other realtors do. They might be someone that lives in Illinois that has to sell this house and they don't really care about it. They don't know the market. To me, it's just a little red flag that tells me I got to go figure that out. Because people can ask whatever they want for properties. But it's what people are willing to pay that makes a difference. So just because it's listed on the multiple listing service and the MLS, don't assume it's not a deal. You got to find little things about it. The second thing you got to find about is the condition of the home. So there's a whole group of people that are looking for really good homes that don't have any issues. That's fine. You can go find those. I'm looking for things in my neighborhood that might have, as we call it, might have some hair on it. Like there's problems, okay? And you got to go fix them, which that's what we're looking for. That's going to deter a lot of normal buyers, and it's going to make make investors act on it quickly. That's why you got to have a realtor you already have in contact with, and you got to get notifications. And then you got to look for little signs. So needs repair, great. As is. So when you look up search parameters in any of these services, you can add keywords to your description. So I can have one search that alerts me when a duplex is offered. I can have another alert in the same zip code that alerts me if a property is listed with a keyword that says needs work, or as is, or motivated seller. Sometimes we'll put that right in there. Estate, probate. All these things could be put in the actual comments that would alert you. They'd be like, oh, this is a potential deal. All right. So that's, you want to be able to find those types of little things that make it a big, a potential deal. So we got those things in place. The next thing I would tell you to do is to spend time walking the neighborhood. Now, I do some running, and so I will typically go for a run. And when you're running or when you're walking a neighborhood, you're going to pick up on things that if you're just driving through, you're not going to see. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for landscaping that's way overgrown. I'm looking for deferred maintenance. I'm looking for porches that are falling apart, roofs that have tarps on it. I'm looking for houses that look abandoned. I'm looking for houses with all the shades down and it looks like no one's entered in a long time. Okay. I'm looking for electric that's shut off. I'm looking for notices that are posted to the door. I'm walking the neighborhoods and I'm looking for all those types of things, because that tells me that there's something going on there where I could potentially get a deal. And with the next question is, well, what do you do when you find them? So if I see a house that's completely abandoned, I will go talk to the owner. Now, that may come in a couple different ways. Take one step back. It's really good if you create some kind of card. A business card is too small. A postcard size is better. A postcard size that says your name, a way to contact you, and the simple phrase of I buy houses, or I solve problems with real estate. I had one time that had a kind of a southern looking character in a pair of suspenders that said Bubba buys houses. And I had it on a postcard, kind of a cartoon character, and it said Bubba buys houses. And when I would come up to a house that I wanted, I'd knock on the door, talk to them, leave them my card, or if they weren't there, I'd put it in the doorstep, or I'd write the address down. This is the next step. Let me go do that one next. But on premise, if I see something, I got to have something to go knock on the door and talk to them and then leave them with something. And a typical postcard is all you need. Postcard with what you do, who, what, why, when, where. I mean, it's less about making that thing look all perfect and professional as opposed to just having something to hand them. Okay. So I keep that on me. I can go talk to them. So that's in person. I'll leave it at the door if I have to. But also what I'll do, if it looks completely abandoned, I'll write the address down. I'll even put the address right on the card. I'll go home and I'll do a little work online, and figure out who the actual owner of the home is. Because if it's truly abandoned, you can leave 20 of those cards there and no one's ever going to come look for them. But if you come home and you look up the owner online and then take that postcard that you already have made, flip it over, put the address on, and send it out to them, now all of a sudden you have a quick mechanism for reaching out to owners. It's an unlisted property, and you're able to go and get a potential deal through it. So that's where we want to be able to be prepared by having the cards, be able to walk neighborhoods and look for signs that they are potentially a motivated seller with a particular piece of property. And you're looking for obvious things. And we don't want to insult people. Just because someone's yard's mowed, you don't walk up and say, hey, are you looking, your house looks abandoned, or are you in trouble? You don't say that. What you would say when you walk up to the door is, in my case, I would say, hey, my name is Steve. I'm a real estate investor. If you're ever interested in selling your home, here's my card. I make it easy. I can buy your house for cash, easy terms. I'll be fair. Let me know, and I'll leave it with that. I mean, there are some good phrases we can talk through more in general. I'll call it a property, not home. Like I'll say, hey, how's your property doing? A property is a problem. A home has sentimental to it. So I'll use the word property with them. Because if I can solve the problem with your property, are you interested? Because a lot of them, the property is a problem to them. They're behind in payments, behind in deferred maintenance. They want to get rid of it. So I'm a problem solver with a property. I'm not there to buy their home. That's a totally different emotional context. So I don't use the word home. Are you interested in selling your home? No. Are you interested in solving the problem with your property? Completely different story. So there are a few techniques you need to think about when you're talking to people. But in general, talking to one person perfectly is not as good as talking to 20 people imperfectly. So it's a numbers game. You got to go talk to people. So that's, you've got to walk the neighborhood. You got to be willing to talk to people, willing to be prepared, and then go home. If they're not home, look up who the owner is and send it not to the house, but to who the owner is. And you have to do a little research to figure out where the tax bill is being sent. The tax bill is being sent somewhere else if it's truly abandoned. And then you send that to the owner. You want to get really complex, you can draft a letter and send it to them as well if you want to kind of pull some emotional strings. But a postcard is usually good enough. Just, I buy houses. Send them the postcard. But Steve, there's other people doing this. Yeah, there are. There are other people doing it. They're not going to get all of them. It's a numbers game. If I write 20 offers, 10 are going to be flat out rejected, and with people being angry probably. 5 of them are going to be okay, but they'll say no. The other 5, they'll talk to me. I might get, and the other 2 of those will be negotiable, and you'll probably get 1. It's a numbers game. Especially if you're in the mode of really getting good deals, you got to make offers. So let's go to the offers. Half of getting deals is having the right understanding of an offer. A lot of people think they have to get all of their ducks in a row. So let's say you find a piece of property, it's listed on the multiple listing service, and it needs work, okay? And so you get the ping from your notification, and you set up a thing, and you go to the house, and you're the first person to walk through the house after it's been listed. And it's in a great neighborhood, it needs paint, carpet, some updating, and you're like, man, this is a great deal. So now what do? Well, in order to make it a good deal, to see if it's going to be a good deal, you got to be able to write an offer. But what a lot of times will happen is you'll say, well, I got to get my carpenter in here. I got to get quotes. I got to get bids. I got to get a roofer in here. I got to get an electrician in here. I got to know how much it's going to cost before I can write an offer, but they're not available, and it's a weekend. And it's going to be next week. And so now 3 weeks go by as you get all these people in to get offers, and then it's gone. And then the next time you see a deal, your carpenter's not going to come in for free and give you an estimate because it's a lot of work. Okay? So how do we overcome that burden? What you do is you got to understand that an offer is simply an invitation to dance. That's what an offer is. So if they're asking, and again, this is not always the case, but let's say they're asking $200,000 for a house that needs work, okay? And I go in there and I walk through and I'm looking at the whole thing. And I'm like, okay, this is going to need some work. It needs a new roof. I'm a $5,000 guy. So I'll go roof, $5,000. Kitchen, $5,000. Bedroom, redo a bathroom, $5,000. Redo the powder room, $5,000. I'll go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Okay, it's like about $40,000 in rehab. So then I'll take that, I'll take it, I'll make a low offer to start the negotiations. Okay? Because when you get under contract, you have a financing contingency, you have an inspection contingency. Once you have the property locked up, now you can bring your people in to get your numbers penciled, sharpen your pencil to get your numbers right so that you can figure out if it's a deal or not. But if you do that ahead of time, the deal will be gone. So make the offer, figure out your calculations, make it low enough, start getting into negotiations with them. I've had properties listed at $200,000 and I've wrote $125,000 for it. And they say, absolutely not, we're never talking to you again. And they're gone. Okay. But if other people, I'll rate it offer at 125, they come back and they say, well, we can go to 175. I'm like, oh, they're willing to negotiate. Okay. I'll get back in, sharpen my pencil, and then I begin to work that deal. You can create deals. Listen, you can create deals by making offers. You make the offer, you don't offer them, if they're asking $200,000, you're not going to offer, $75,000, something to offend them, but you're going to make enough where you can go up and you're also in a safe zone for you can sharpen your pencil with repairs. All right? And knowing the market, writing a couple offers, your first one's probably going to be clunky. Your realtor is not going to know what to do. It's going to take longer than you expect. Just keep at it. You'll be quicker. We get to the point where I can call my realtor. I'll say, hey, put an offer on this property for this amount, and it'll be done. Within a couple hours, we got an offer in. Because they know the process. They know what terms we want. And that only because we've gone through several offers with them, multiple offers, and they know what to expect and know what to do. But we weren't that fast in the beginning. Speed is your friend, but what holds people up is they want to get all their numbers correct before they make an offer, and it's actually the opposite. Deduct it, make the offer, begin seeing if they're going to negotiate or not, and then begin working on it. If you have a good sense of what repairs cost, I always add 10% more, 20% more to it, and then I make the offer, and then I begin to sharpen my pencil. But that's the way you get it done quickly. All right. So first way we're going to find deals is narrowing down our zone. Then we're going to make alerts come to us on our own and by other people. Then we're going to walk the neighborhood and be prepared with a card that we can leave at the property, talk to people, or mail to them. Then we're going to be prepared with our realtor so we can write an offer when we need to. The fourth thing we got to do, whatever number it is, we got to be able to have our financing in order to make deals happen too. Okay. So I've had properties that I know are a deal and other people know it too, but they're going at it with a financing contingency and loans where I can go in cash. And do we always have the cash? No, but do I have access to the cash? Yes. So getting a line of credit set up on a piece of property that has equity, okay? Having a credit card ready that you can do all the rehab on if you need to. Having a bank ready that you've talked to that will be able to fund your project. Like all those things, getting that stuff done in front is going to help you be able to do things when you actually find the deal. Okay. And it's not uncommon for investors to lose 2-3 deals before they actually get one. The hardest one is your first one because you don't have all your stuff together. And beginning to get through that checklist and the fear of it, so you don't slow down, is the key thing. All right. Now, another way we find deals is simply you can have a system. So what is the system? The system is letting other people know that you're a real estate investor. This word of mouth system has brought more deals than almost anything else like I've done. And it's the whole mindset and confidence. People saying, what are you doing these days? I'm a real estate investor. Really? My dad needs to sell his house. Do you want to talk to him? Now, I'm not a realtor. I'm an investor, but yeah, tell me the situation. Or, hey, there's a property down the street that's been vacant for years. No one's ever done anything about it. Maybe you'd be interested. Or, I have a duplex I've been trying to dump for a long time. Would you be interested? You have to tell people you're a real estate investor. People like to say, hey, my brother, he buys houses. They like to talk about it. They like to know somebody who's in that business. But you have to tell people you're a real estate investor. But Steve, I don't have any properties yet. Doesn't matter. You're looking at it, you're researching it, you're writing offers, you're an investor. You're investing your time into it. Believe me, you're an investor. So just tell people, I'm a real estate investor. And you'll be surprised at how many people will begin contacting you when they see a property up for sale, or they see a unique situation, or they're involved in a unique situation. They'll call you simply because you've told them you're a real estate investor. Okay? That's the next piece. So one more piece is this. You have to be able to meet other investors. So the second biggest source of my deals come from knowing other real estate investors. And the immediate thought process often is that, well, they'll just take all the deals. No, every investor does different things. Like some like duplexes, some like commercial properties, some like single families, some like rentals, some like flips, some like rehab, some don't. Like it's all over the place. But once people are established in the business, they get things thrown their way that they're like, I have too much on my plate, I can't do. You need to know these people. So where do you find them? Well, real estate investment clubs, you can look them up online. Landlord associations, look it up online. You can go to the auctions in town. There's usually a real estate auction still done at the courthouse steps where foreclosed properties are sold at the courthouse steps. Now that's a whole different training on how to buy those. But you can go there and just listen and watch and talk to people who are there. Hey, what do you buy? I'm new to this. Do you have any properties? These are guys that are girls that have been in this business for a long time, that have big lines of credit. They're buying houses for cash. They will help you. If you've been in the business with any real estate investors for a period of time, you will realize that they're not stingy about it. They understand there's plenty of deals to go around, and they love helping new people. You'd think it'd be competitive, and they bid on different properties, but it's not. They will help you. Some of my best deals came from other investors, simply because they didn't have time to do it, or it wasn't their scope, or they don't like that particular neighborhood for some reason. And I've gotten great deals from other investors, but you've got to get to know them. So if you think about your real estate strategy on finding deals, the big part of it is you have to meet other real estate investors. It's not a competition. You're in a learning game, and they will send you deals. They'll sell you their stuff. They'll hold financing for you. We talked about that in another episode. That's a big strategy on your system to find deals, is to know who these people are and to do it. So those are the main ways that I begin to find deals. I have a phrase that, like, if you shake the bushes enough, a bunny's going to run out. And so I'll go in the neighborhoods and I'll shake bushes. I'll just walk the neighborhood, look at properties that are open, talk to neighbors, talk to the people, send letters, talk to real estate investors, get real estate professionals involved. I start hitting it from all the different angles. I'm going to find something. And then I'm going to be willing to write about 10 offers before I get something. And that's okay. You have to put some earnest money, but you have contingencies. You can get out of deals if they don't work out. Let's say you get into a deal and you think the rehab is $25,000, and you get in and you realize that not only is the roof shot, there's mold and there's all kinds of problems. And you realize it's going to be a $50,000 rehab, and you go back to the sellers and you say, hey, I found mold in here. It's going to be $50,000. I need this much more off the property. And they say no. You back out, you get out of it, and you go on to the next one. It's no big deal. But you're not going to find that ahead of time. You got to understand your contract has a inspection contingency and a financing contingency. So you can get out of those contracts. Okay? So you got to get used to writing the offers. So I hope this was helpful in finding deals and looking at things. Don't believe that if they're listed online, they're not good deals. It's simply not true. Sometimes you have to write an offer to see how motivated they are to know if it's a deal or not. And sometimes you got to look for little signs that tell you that there's something going on. Hope this was helpful. Real Estate Cookies will be back. If you like this, please subscribe. It helps us get more people and get out there. And encouragement also to keep doing videos and give me comments on what you thought. We'll talk to you later.